Welcome back, AP Macroeconomics students. Today we're going to talk about topic 3.7, the long run self-adjustment. The difference between the short run and the long run. In the short run, wages and resource prices are sticky and will not change when price level changes. But in the long run, wages and resource prices are flexible and will change when price level changes. If consumer spending increases, what will happen in the short run and in the long run? On the left, we have an increase in aggregate demand, which causes a price level increase and a quantity increase. In the long run, wages and costs increase. Therefore, there'll be a shift in the aggregate supply to correct and put it back on the long run aggregate supply. Similarly, in the business cycle, you see that this correction brings you back to the real GDP. If consumer spending increases, what will happen in the short run, in the long run? In the long run, wages and costs increase. If consumer spending decreases, what will happen in the short run and the long run? Decrease in aggregate demand will have a shift for aggregate supply, bringing you back to the long run aggregate supply line. Some examples. Number one, assume there's an increase in consumer spending. What happens to price level and output in the short run? See shift in aggregate demand due to consumer spending, an increased price level and an increased quantity. If consumer spending increases, what will happen to price level and output in the long run? Shift in aggregate demand as a result of that consumer increase. But in the long run, a shift in aggregate supply will bring you back to the original quantity and, of course, have an increased price level. What if consumer expectations fall and consumer spending plummets? What happens to price level and output in the long run? A decrease in aggregate demand and then an increase in aggregate supply, the price level decrease and the output stays the same. Some practice questions. Doing an FRQ. What happens if investment increases? What happens in the short run and the long run? We have a shift in aggregate demand. Capital stock is machinery and tools purchased by businesses that increase their output. And then a shift in aggregate supply. When this happens, there'll be a shift in the long run aggregate supply, and the PPC is going to shift outward since producers can make more. An increase in consumption or government spending doesn't cause economic growth. Only investment causes growth, since firms increase their capital stock. Multiple choice questions, some FRQs, and a couple of videos. Thank you.